Hello. Let me preface this by saying that I love Star Wars very, very much. That being said, there's something that we hear in Star Wars, and that is a saying. And that saying goes like this: attachment leads to fear, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. This is a core expression said by the Jedi Order. And I used to think that it was wise and that it sounds profound. But it's wrong. It's not just a little bit wrong, it's fundamentally wrong about what it means to be human. So let me explain. The Jedi confuse attachment with possession. They treat love as if it's some kind of a liability, that it's dangerous, or that it's something that needs to be controlled or managed, or in the extreme cases, completely eliminated. And they do this because they think that by avoiding attachments, they can avoid fear, which will ultimately lead to suffering. But it's not the attachments that lead to fear. Attachments just reveal what it is that we're afraid to lose. That's a big difference. So fear doesn't come out of love. What fear is it's our inability to face loss and our inability to understand our feelings when we fear to lose something. This is a vulnerability that all humans or all living things in the Star Wars universe have. The Jedi can't eliminate fear. What they actually do is suppress the self-defenses against fear. So when you learn to face your fears, your fear of loss, you build resilience. You build defenses against those losses. You come to accept the possibility of that loss. But if you suppress those feelings and you never allow yourself to have those attachments, when they do come, and they often do, you have no self-defenses. The Jedi are trained almost purposefully to not have any defenses against situations like that. The Jedi Order has pride in its detachment and its calm and its sense of order. But this isn't discipline. It's a self-imposed weakness. They never allow themselves to love and to learn about love. And that learning that wisdom is a self-defense against fear and anger and hate. The Jedi pride themselves in wisdom, but they deny themselves one of the most essential wisdoms that we can learn as a human being. If a person distances themselves from others, from love, they're not above fear. It doesn't make them stronger. What it does is make them brittle. And when real love or real emotions do break through, they don't bend. They don't have a defense. What they do is they break. They shatter. And the perfect example of this is Anakin Skywalker. Anakin never learned how to love. They kept him away from attachments. They taught him not to form attachments, not to feel love. And when he did, he didn't know how to process it. He thought he wasn't supposed to feel it. And he felt shame for that. And he tried to hide it. He felt shame and he felt fear of being discovered that he actually had feelings, as a normal human does. And when he felt the possibility of loss, he shattered. He had no ways to cope with these feelings that he felt. And what happened? What did he turn to? Anger, fear, hate. Anakin didn't fail. He didn't fall to darkness because he loved. He fell to darkness because he had no resilience. He had no self-defenses. He had no wisdom. He had no wisdom to temper his love, his feelings. And he fell to darkness. Love is not a flaw in your character. And this is something that really caused the downfall of the Jedi. And it's something that they never really came to grips with. And you can see in the real world that their philosophy is lacking very, very much. I'll give you a good example of that. Child with a disability, which I have. You can't detach yourself from a situation like that. You can't separate yourself from your feelings of love when you have a child, especially a child with special needs, who depends on you in ways that the world can't even understand. There is no avoidance or detachment. Every day, every part of your life, every victory, every defeat, every setback, all of these things you feel deeply in your heart and deeply in your soul. You are attached to their daily struggle. This isn't a bad thing. This is not even something that's even possible to avoid. Their future, their pains, their dignity, their survival is dependent on you. And you do feel fear. You feel deep fear. Fear of, will they be okay when I'm gone? Will the world treat them with dignity? Will they have support that they need? This is a fear that's constant. It never goes away. How do you build strength when you feel this fear? You build that by resilience. And what the light really is love. Is love that can balance out the fear that you feel inside. That when you take that love and you reject anger, you reject fear, you reject hate, and you fight against suffering. That's what embracing the light really is. You can't battle the darkness if you don't even understand what the light is. And I think that's real wisdom. And what the Jedi Order had followed is really folly. And it's not wisdom. The real strength is being able to continue on in a world that punishes you for your existence, for fear, for love, for compassion, for empathy. When the world punishes you for feeling these things, and you still carry on, and you still choose compassion, and you still choose love and dignity, that is what strength is. And that is resilience. And this is what the Jedi lack. And this is why they failed. You cannot be a guardian of peace. You cannot be a guardian of the light if you don't even understand what it is to fight for the light. Detachment and distance didn't protect them from fear and anger and hate. The only thing it did was remove from them the weapons to fight against it. Remove from them the defenses that they would have needed to prevent their fall. They were unprepared. And the truth is that if the Jedi had faced honestly their emotions and their love and built up these kinds of resiliencies and the possibility to hold love and empathy and kindness in their heart in a way that they could counterbalance any kind of fear that they felt, then they would be able to be protectors of the peace while remaining human, while understanding what it really is to be human. Because they are protecting the people of the galaxy that do feel love, they do feel fear, they do feel anger and hate, they feel all of these things. How can you protect innocents that must live their lives this way when you don't understand it yourself? And this is their biggest mistake. And honestly, this is what gives the Sith power against them. If the Jedi had understood that, they might not have fallen at all. Thank you.